Since the latest generation Honda Civic hit the market, we've driven this Honda Civic Touring Coupe, which I figured could have had a slightly more comfortable ride given its touring designation. But beyond that, I found it to be a good-looking two-door that's roomier than you think, and one with great feature content for long-distance drivers, and one with a really good powertrain that's both punchy and fuel efficient. Also, we drove this Civic, the new Type R, which is a boatload of fun and best driven hard on winding roads, and actually, it's a lot more tame and suitable for daily driving than it looks. It's not the fastest or most powerful car you can have for the money, and from some angles it looks a bit overdone, but it's an authentic world-class performer built to put a really big smile on your face. For the money, this is some of the best fun you can have in a car with your clothes on. Today we'll look at another Civic, this Sport Touring, and it's a good pick if you're after something that sort of taps slightly into everything the latest Civic has to offer. Let's roll the review. This is a good-looking car, I think, and especially finished in this great shade of blue and with those unique center exhausts and big tail lamps that you can see from Google Earth. The styling isn't for everyone, but you do know exactly what this is the second you see it, even from a distance. There's some presence here. Like all Civics, you get this interior, nicely trimmed, fairly upscale, nice place to be, but the magic is how thoughtful and useful it is. It's easy to enter and exit, it's logical to use almost everything after a few minutes, the touchscreen interface is a bit klutzy and the graphics are okay-ish, but it is a powerful system that's easy to figure out. There is a heap of at-hand storage for organizing items you've got along for the drive, a good driving position provided you don't mind sitting deep in the cabin, and more than adequate provisions to charge your mobile electronics too. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are also on board, which are pretty much must-have features these days that everybody wants. That carries on elsewhere too. You've got Radar Cruise, this camera-based lane change assist system to help keep an eye on the hard-to-see right-hand side of the car when you signal. A backup camera, navigation, automatic climate control, heated leather, a sunroof, voice control. This is really set it and forget it driving, and there's little in terms of featured content that's not included. This is the Sport Touring hatch, which tops out the Civic hatch lineup at about 31 grand, so it's not exactly cheap, but you do get everything. You might consider the hatch instead of the sedan or coupe if you've got a growing family, like camping, do a lot of shopping, or have one of these. And you get this as well, which might be the Civic's greatest asset. This 1.5-liter four-cylinder turbo engine, like the feature content and styling, delivers what customers want. Solid and pleasing performance since it's rich with torque and performs well in virtually all conditions, but also fuel efficiency. Given the eagerness and 180 horses, it's surprisingly thrifty. You could fairly easily put this much fuel through any number of less powerful engines in the segment. Of course, going small displacement and turbocharged helps, and so does the continually variable transmission, or CVT, which improves performance and keeps fuel use down. And if a gear-free transmission like this one isn't your favorite, you can order this car with a proper 6-speed stick.
Reviewing a Honda Civic is a funny thing because usually you just buy one for a whole lot of reasons that have very little to do with how it drives. You buy a Civic because it's the Civic, and usually it's not your first or your second one either. Many people buy these because they're safe, good on fuel, have good resale value, and they're proven to be amongst the most reliable cars on the road. The added bonus for this latest generation Civic is that they've bundled it up with literally anything anybody might want in a car at this price point, and given you so many models to choose from. Hatch, sedan, coupe, SI, Type R. Really, there's something for just about everyone.
So the way the Civic drives probably isn't a huge consideration for you, but telling you how it drives is my job, so I shall. The name Sport Touring suggests a car that's both sporty and comfortable for long-distance driving. Sporty? Check. Just breathe on that throttle and you're off. Lots of low-end torque, plenty of pull for higher revs, and an instant, sometimes even exaggerated response to throttle inputs from low speeds. Around town, I preferred to use the Econ mode because it numbs the throttle a bit, making it easier to drive smoothly, and it's less abrupt and you save fuel too. Steering lacks much meaningful feel about the goings-on between the tires and the road, but the ratio is relatively quick and it's balanced nicely between light and heavy. All said, it's a good all-around feel with a touch of extra sportiness for good measure. Brakes, similar to the steering, a sort of all-purpose feel that's not too touchy and not too numb, but with a dab of extra precision and potency dialed in so they feel a little more precise than the norm. The ride is still not what I'd call deserving of the touring badge though. It's more on the sporty side, firmer than some shoppers will like, and seems more focused on feeling athletic, not floating on a cloud comfortable. And my biggest gripe comes in here too. Cruise the highway at a decent clip and you'll be wondering what the heck is with the noise. It is fairly loud by the time you hit the speed limit. I didn't really notice this in other Civics I've recently driven, and the noise seems to be the tires, and there's plenty of it. Other gripes include the low-resolution camera displays, some interior plastics that seem to smudge or scratch if you so much as look at them the wrong way, and the lack of a volume knob for the stereo, meaning that you'll have to tap away at this touchpad instead. So mainly, the touring designation centers around the feature content, I figure, and the sport designation, well, that belongs here in full. You're backed on long drives by the latest in connectivity, really good headlights, a nice stereo, and automatic everything. Personally, I'd like my touring car to be a little softer and quieter than this, but it's hard to argue with all of the goodies included, which you'll find useful for staying entertained, connected, safe, and on course as you travel away from home. Hard to argue with the fuel mileage either.
And so maybe here's why Honda sells so many of these. You've got an instantly recognizable package with all of the features that the consumer wants, power and fuel efficiency, and thoughtful design and touches that make it easy to live with. Now, other than just a little bit too much noise in some situations, this is a pretty stellar package that's excellent at what it does. I'm Justin Pritchard.